If my wife was to have something that she might be jealous of, it would be the city of Lacey. I do have an affair with the city of Lacey.
One of his jobs in his professional career has been to identify young professionals, to mentor them, to then take their place in the community. And I'm a living example of that, and there are others, dozens of others throughout the community who are also living examples of his model of mentorship.
One of the things that Virgil understood all along and understands now is the importance of building relationships. He knows how to do that, he knows how to maintain those relationships, and he knows the fruits of being able to get along with people and work well with them and be collaborative.
A person that operates as Virgil does, and is a consensus builder and is working with people, doesn't mean that they don't have their own ideas. And it doesn't mean that they don't have the courage to stand up for them, because Virgil has some very positive ideas. He's not going to rub your nose in it necessarily, but I know, and I have seen him make very tough personal decisions publicly that a lesser person might have said, well, I'll let this one slide a little bit.
I don't care what a person's station in life is, what his bank account may be, what his civic position may be educationally. If an individual, in my opinion, is truthful in his or her approach to life and to me as another individual, he has nothing but my greatest admiration.
People often become cynical of elected officials, become cynical of a person's motives. There is no question surrounding Virgil's motives. He's a man of integrity. He operates with transparency, in openness. He's a breath of fresh air that we all value greatly.
Virgil understands, and he obviously was a strong supporter of beautifying the community, and you can do that with good infrastructure. The vision for expanding parks was a council accepted initiative. When he was 87, we had 70 acres of park property. Today there's over 1,100 acres of parks. We had three parks, now there's pushing 30 different parcels of park property. And you know, that's one of the things Virgil really wanted to accomplish. He wants a welcoming community for Lacey, for everyone.
One where Virgil really had a role to play that's been important for the city up till now is out in the Gateway Project where Cabela's is. Virgil was able to work, he was on Thurston Regional Planning at that time, to work to get matching dollars for the city, federal and state, to put the roadway system in, Britton Parkway and the other roads in that area. Without those, we wouldn't have Cabela's. And Cabela's has been, at least until I left the council, I'm sure now, a major tax base for the city and a major attraction for people to come and involve themselves in other things in the community.
Virgil's the kind of guy he's very honorable, he's trustworthy, he's ethical, and he wants good government. That's been a source of pride for him, is that we are financial stewards, we're fiscally responsible, we're good environmental stewards. He wants government to be accessible, accountable, and responsible.
I mean, he was very supportive of the senior center, and I know he is now of the addition that Lacey's doing to the senior center. And Virgil would stop in and visit with him. You know, just during the day, if he had time, he'd stop over and have lunch with him maybe. Just kind of be a presence there because he cared about them and he cared about how the community center was working for them.
Virgil was selected to represent the city of Lacey on the board of directors of Together.
Growing up as a minority in Houston, he saw that not all kids were afforded equal opportunity.
He became the treasurer of the Together board and watched the financial picture of the organization closely because he knew that no nonprofit can function if they're not careful with their finances.
If anything, I think frustrates Virgil these days, it's to see young people who are not engaged in the right activities, who are going down the wrong path, not following the straight and narrow, or not engaged in school. I think that really hurts him.
He knows the importance of young people having a place to go after school, not to an empty house. He knows the importance of having positive role models around those children.
It's important to him to see youth, because he knows they're the next generation to come along. It's important to see those youth succeed.
When I moved to this county in 1965, there were only 15 blacks that lived in Thurston County, not in Olympia, not in Lacey. Lacey wasn't even a city at that time, but in all of Thurston County, there were 15 blacks.
When Virgil got here a long time ago, he was one of a handful of African Americans. And I know one of the things he told me that he was probably the most proud of over the years is that he joined with Dan Evans and Judge Dolliver, I believe it was 1967 or 68, put a petition together to promote and to have the cities adopt a fair housing ordinance. And it was a reaction to what he faced when he first came in 66 or 67. And Lacey was the first community to adopt that.
As a black man coming to a city that had a very small minority population, he faced challenges, some of which might have been unpleasant to him, and he's always had this great personality that's risen above any kind of misfortune that he has faced in his life.
We have a lot of Hawaiians and Samoans and Vietnamese, and so Virgil was very much interested in making sure that that community was involved in the city and that they were treated respectfully by the police or anybody else in the city. He was instrumental in getting several of them to volunteer for different committees and things in the city, so very collaborative in that way too.
Well, I met Virgil about 40 years ago when I was a young lawyer here in Olympia, and I don't think he'll mind me relating the fact that he came into my law office in the Capitol Center building and met with him, and he asked me to draw up a will for him. I don't know if that will that I drew up over 4 decades ago is still in existence, but I hope it's a long, long time before it's ever put to its intended use, if it still is in existence.
As far as Virgil's private life is concerned, to be honest with you, I'm not too sure he has that much of a private life because, you know, he's still representing this community and Lacey and so on at national events and doing all that thing. The guy's a real mover.